Hello everyone, welcome back to the Obsidian Collective YouTube channel. My name is Alex and I am the host of a DID system known as the Obsidian Collective, and today I'm here to give a system update. I'd like to apologize first and foremost if I'm a little off in this video. I've just been thinking a lot about how mental health professionals treat DID, and so I'm a little off because it upset me a little bit. And I might make a video talking about that, but right now I'm just making a system update. It's been 7 months or 8 months since our last system update, so I thought I would give one because a lot has changed. The last time I believe I mentioned our head count, we were at 80 known alters. That does not include fragments. That's just known alters, and unknown alters aren't accounted into that. Ever since our last head count, we are now at 200 plus known alters, and that is not the best thing. It's something that we're working through, and it's a part of the healing process. Like, I'm gonna have to discover new alters before integrating and fusing, and that's just the way it is. I'm currently co-hosting with Prom. I don't think he's made a video on here introducing himself, but he might make one. And me and him, we're kind of a tag team right now. For a little bit it was me and Ace, but now it's me and Prom, and we're just trying our best at the moment to make sense of things. Ace got promoted to system manager, so before he was a head protector, a, a semi gatekeeper, and a trauma holder, and he is still head protector, still a trauma holder. But on top of that, he's now like a full gatekeeper and a system manager, and he has been tasked with rearranging everyone's roles. So everyone's roles has been changing, aside from me. I'm always host. Even though I beg Asher, I say, Asher, please, I don't want to be host anymore. I'm exhausted. He's like, no, that's your role. And I'm like, okay, all right. All right, I guess that's the way it is. And so lots of roles have been changing. Like Prom was an anxiety holder, and he still is an anxiety holder, but now he is also co-hosting, and he's doing a pretty good job at it. So kudos to him. I'm very thankful to have someone reliable like him as like my fellow co-host. Makes my life a little bit easier despite all the stress. Another important thing would be that the inner world has expanded, which was to be expected from new altars being discovered, and this was actually caused by music. I was listening to a song. I'm not going to say the song, but it's a very beautiful song. And I was listening to it, and it basically triggered me into a flashback from like when I was a kid, and I basically things shifted after that flashback. I was calm, um, as calm as you can be during a flashback. Usually after my flashbacks, um, I'm cut off from the memories. It's like I had a flashback, I'm panicking, and then suddenly it just stops, and I don't know what the hell I was panicking about. I'm just like, what just happened? Like, why am I crying? I don't remember what happened. And that would be because of Asher. He handles memory access, and he's like basically like, you're not ready for this memory, and he pulls it away from me. I no longer have that memory. With this flashback, um he didn't remove it from me. It was kind of like a, you're ready for this right now. And that caused a new area of the inner world to basically be known and become known. I believe his name is Felix. I just met him recently, um, but he's basically the messenger that connects to this new area of the inner world, and I plan to make a video talking about our inner world in depth. But basically, the inner world is a kingdom, and this I did not know. This I was not privy to. Asher knew, Ace didn't know, but Asher knew, and other members of Asher's little squad of gatekeepers and system managers, they knew, but I was kept in the dark because I was not ready to know. And now I do know, because apparently now I'm ready to know. And it's basically it's a huge kingdom, and the area of the headspace that I've had access to for only a little bit of time, um, it's not anywhere as big as that area. I thought that our inner world was small, but I also knew that there was areas that I wasn't allowed to go to. I knew that areas were restricted, so I knew that it was bigger than what I was seeing. Um, Originally, there was just this grass area. There's an estate, and that's where a lot of the altars live. A lot of the like almost 80 plus altars lived in that estate, um, and it's beautiful. I plan to make it on Minecraft, just to kind of show it, because unfortunately I can't have people go in my brain and see it. Um, but I really wish I could show it to people just so they know what I'm talking about. But it's basically, there's an estate, there's grass, and there's a forest surrounding it. Ace's treehouse is nearby it, and there's a forest surrounding it that I'm not allowed to go into. A lot of people aren't allowed to go into the forest. In the forest lives Aiden and Ren, and Arrow used to live there before he fused, but they live in a cave and also a log cabin out there. And then way further past the woods, like if you keep walking and walking and walking, you will come across a castle. And I did not know that this castle existed until lately, until the arrival of this flashback and basically the unlocking of this area of the headspace. Um, and so it's been a lot because a castle is a very big area. It's a big structure. It's a big building. It houses a lot of altars. I don't know like any of them aside from Felix, and I met his brother. Um, I forget his name, but I met his brother recently, and they both live in the castle, and it just makes sense to me why the inner world is the way it is in certain aspects of it. Not everything makes sense to me. Like, why is there a forest surrounding the estate? Like, you could say, okay, it's to protect that small area. Um, but I find myself afraid of forests. So I'm like, why is there a forest? Like, what is the meaning? Why did my brain make a forest? I don't know. The castle makes sense. Um, and I'll talk more about this in a video about the inner world, but it just makes sense. And it was very distressing to discover. It was very distressing to know that there's more than 100 altars in the system. It feels like the head count grows every day, and recently it has been changing every day. We've been splitting a lot. We've been dealing with a lot. The last video we made kind of touched on to like the struggles that we were facing, and those were just some of the struggles. Um, we had to like leave school for a little bit because it just got so bad. It got so bad splitting wise. We were rapid switching in our classes. We were like ending up in places we didn't know around our school, and we don't really know the area around our school like the back of our hand. So it was like I was ending up in places, and I was like, how the hell did I get here? And that was very stressful. Like, you think you'd be used to it because you have DID, but it's still terrifying to end up somewhere you don't know, no matter how many times it happens. Um, and so that was no, like, no new situation, but it didn't make it any less stressful. And so I had to return home, take a break from school, and basically started just having episode after episode and dealing with mental health crises and flashbacks and everything. Just, it felt like someone cranked it up to 11. It was terrible. um, and in order to cope with that, we started splitting, like mass splits, and it was so stressful. I would record every day, that I was running, and I would just write down, like, yep, we're still splitting. Like, I would just keep track of it, and when it would finally end, I'd be like, okay, it's over, and it would get triggered again, by something, and I was just like, when will this stop? It finally stopped, but it finally stopped, and I was okay. I was fine. We got our med increase. We went to a partial hospitalization program. We did all of this, and it started being okay. Like, we started to stabilize. Um, and then I basically, a little bit after that, listened to the music. The music triggered me into this flashback that basically unlocked areas of the system, and boom, 100 plus alters right there. Don't know their names, at least most of their names, and the communication with them is absolutely horrible. I mean, Felix is a messenger. He's meant to carry messages back and forth between these two areas of the system, of the headspace, and basically be that source of communication. Because originally that source of communication was Ace. Ace, you would go to him and you'd be like, okay, I have a message for this altar. Can you please get it to him? And he has access to everywhere, or at least I thought he had access to everywhere, and he would get that message to whoever you needed it to get to. But he did not have access to the castle area. He didn't even know it existed, and basically, new messenger would be Felix. Um, he is a kind guy. I don't know much about him aside from the fact that he's kind of like the Hermes of the system. That's what I described him as. And that kind of brought me a little bit of comfort. um, is because he's a messenger, and he travels throughout the inner world to provide messages and be that source of communication. But he's only one altar, and so it's like, you're not going to be able to, the communication's not going to be perfect if we're all relying on one altar. It's just, it's not. So that's one thing that's changed, aside from the head count and the host change and the headspace change. It's been a lot. um, Other than that, like, we are starting a new stage of our life. Um, right now, everything feels kind of stable. Well, not, it does not, actually. That is not true at all. It does not feel stable. I'm more so, it feels stable system wise. Um, will it stay that way? Don't know. I don't want to put my bets on that it will. Um, but I'm just going to enjoy the fact that we're not splitting right now, and that I haven't had any other flashbacks being like, hey, here's another huge area of the inner world that you didn't know about. Um, but it is a not. We're stepping into a new area of our life. We're stepping into a new stage of our life, and I don't know how it's gonna go, but I'm just going to keep an open mind, and I'm thankful that I have Prom as my co-host, to handle it, because I don't think I could do it on my own. And I know he was nervous, and he was like, I don't think I can handle it either. And I was like, well, we have to handle it. We can't not handle it. We're the host. So yeah, uh, that's the system update. I don't know if I have anything else. Any recent fusions? No. Well, no, I'm not gonna count it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'm going to make a video about our inner world. Probably after recording this one, because otherwise I'll forget. And thank you for watching. Uh, Make sure you take your meds, drink water, eat food, take care of yourself, and have an amazing day. Don't forget you are loved.